Welcome back to the Dryline Podcast, the home for cultural appreciation and occasional criticism of Oklahoma City. Hosted by me, the Dryline's Editor-in-Chief, Ryan Fightmaster. Today, I have for you an interview with Hamilton's Elvie Ellis. Graciously, Elvie carved out some time for us to talk at the Civic Center between rehearsals today, and that man is busy. He's currently the principal stand-in on Hamilton's national tour, meaning he must be prepared nightly to play any of the 4 lead roles for Hamilton. And last night, in his hometown, on opening night at the Civic Center, he got to sing Lafayette's opening number, which he talks about in the show. Had to have been insane. But before I get into all of Elvie's accolades and do the customary intro to the podcast thing, let me say this. Elvie is as Oklahoman as they come. And I wanted to hear what kind of impact being from Oklahoma City has had on his career on stage, and I really wanted to know his thoughts on where OKC stands culturally at present, given his experience and his travels across the country and the globe performing. His answers made me laugh, and they surprised me. Because around here, there's a prodigal son-like myth when it comes to fame and fortune, as if to make it as an Oklahoman, you have to burn your Oklahoma roots to the ground to sell yourself better in New York or LA. Elvie's done the opposite because he never left. He got his musical training at Classen SAS, then his degree in vocal education at the University of Oklahoma, while he toured nationally as Swing on Waitress, then on Jesus Christ Superstar, where he starred as Judas for 2 years, where he toured nationally. And in the last few years, while he's toured nationally with Hamilton, Elvie continued working at OU Health Sciences Center as camp director at Camp Blue Hawk, a week-long summer camp for kids with type 1 diabetes. And that's where we met back in 2017, when I was working on medical staff, and where we've worked together for 1 week of the summer, most of the summer since. Until this last summer. Elvie and I don't talk about camp today, but I'd regret not sharing one story about this guy's local impact. Every year, at the camp's talent show, Elvie would MC the event, and after all the campers had performed, which was usually a montage of juggling, TikTok dances, karaoke, and taekwondo, the campers would inevitably chant, "Elvie, Elvie, Elvie." And every year, Elvie, begrudgingly, would jump up on stage, and every year, Elvie proceeded to rip it like he's on Broadway. Left the whole room in goosebumps. Obviously, the kids loved it at camp, and the staff, well, we shook our heads at each other every year, and we would say, my God, we are lucky. This is probably our last year of getting to work with Elvie at camp. And you know what? Last year was that last year. As within the past 12 months, he started his own one-man show, which is actually playing down at Sooner Theater in Norman this upcoming Monday night, for those who are interested. Tickets are going to be linked in the show notes. Also, Elvie talks about it at length in the show. But he'll also be locked into performing again at Hamilton on August 22nd. And tickets are still available to that show. And he said last night when he was booked to perform, it was almost like standing room only. So tickets are going quick. Link for all of this. Everything you'll hear about today is going to be linked in the show notes too. I want to say a special thank you to the Civic Center for the hospitality today. For those of you who are going to be watching on YouTube, you will see that they hooked us up with seats at the VIP bar for this interview, which looks like a pretty good time. And somewhere, whenever I go and watch Elvie during this 2-week stop, that I will be getting a beverage before a show. The best thing I saw in OKC culture is included in the conversation today. It's after, so stick around for a bit for that. Okay, now let's get to it. Here's my conversation with the one and only Elvie Ellis. So when you reached out to me, Elvie, about doing this show and that you were going to be in town for Hamilton, I got to say I felt some relief because I made a promise to you a couple years ago that I was going to come and watch you in Greenville whenever I was living in Nashville.
Oh,
and I never
yes.
We didn't make that happen. My wife and I, we felt bad about it. So this is like our second chance.
Do not feel bad about it.
Another chance here at home.
Do not feel bad about it. Life happens. It happens to all of us. It's totally fine.
Well, thanks, man. I know you performed everywhere. And yeah, just some background on us. We've known each other now for like a decade, probably.
Yes. Yep.
Through our shared religion, that is the University of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And before we touch on all that history and obviously the reason why you're in town, which is touring with Hamilton, I just want to know what the last year has been like for you personally, because you had a gig at OUHSC.
Yes.
You left that.
Uh-huh.
You started your own show.
Uh-huh.
And you're still touring nationally.
Yeah.
With Hamilton. So what's the last year been like for you?
The last year has been, okay, I'm trying to think what month we're in August, so I got to go back to the previous August. So my birthday's in August. So in the last year, I just turned 35 on August 6th.
Oh, man.
So that was a milestone.
That's a milestone.
Right. My therapist was like, how do you feel about turning 35? And I was like, I don't know. So that, let's see, on both of those birthdays, I've had like rehearsal for Hamilton and then like a performance that night, which is like crazy to think about because I auditioned for Hamilton for like 6.5 to 7 years before being cast. And it was like, you know, Hamilton, anytime anybody talks to me and they're like, well, what's one show you want to do? I'm like, Hamilton. Like, if I don't do Hamilton before I die, then like it's all for nothing. So to like celebrate like my past 3 birthdays, like in rehearsal for my dream show and then like doing the show and all of that is like really just like you can't, you know, make that up. Right. Let's see. Like you said, I was doing the diabetes camp at OUHSC. No longer doing that, which is, yes, where we like officially met, but like we had a bunch of people, like we were like orbiting each other for a long time before that.
Yeah.
I started my own like solo show. So anyway, I'm not answering your question. You said, how am I doing personally? I am, sometimes it feels like I'm treading water a little bit. Sometimes it feels like I am 35 and thriving. You know what I mean? It's like, I have started to really kind of, I don't know. As when you turn 35, you like kind of start to settle in a little bit and you're like, okay, like this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. And, you know, so I've gotten more comfortable with the fact that like I am no longer as big of a social butterfly as I used to be. And I'm like, yeah, I actually do need my time to just like be alone and stuff like that. But also, you know, doing that it makes you, you know, like really start to like look at your friendships and like which one of those you really want to like cultivate and like really invest in and pour time into and stuff like that. So, you know, also in this past year, I got to take a trip to Bali with 2 of my best friends, which is like incredible. You know what I mean? So there's been lots of like really, really good stuff. As you know, life is life. So life be life and sometimes, but aside from that, it's been great.
I've heard people say before that the 20s are amazing and there's all these highs, but the 30s are the best because you've kind of distilled down more of who you are. Mm-hmm. And you may not have like as many of the roller coaster like peak experiences, but the experiences are better because you're a little truer to who you are.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I feel like that's what you're talking about.
Yes, that 100% I would identify with that for sure.
So last night was opening night in your hometown, Oklahoma City, at the Civic Center, on the Civic Center stage.
Yeah.
Doing Hamilton, and you performed the opening number. How was that?
So, it was crazy. I tried to warn people. So like, of course, like before the show, the cast is like, oh, Elvie, like, do you have people coming to see the show? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, like, how many people do you have? And they're expecting me to be like, well, you know, like 6 or 7 or maybe 10. Know. And I was like, y'all, there's probably like 150 to 200 people here. Like, obviously they came to see Hamilton, but like they're like really here to see me. And they're like, no, like, and I'm like, I'm telling you, Oklahoma City, for whatever reason, does not play about Elvie Ellis. And they're like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, I'm just apologizing now for like how obnoxious this is about to be. And so I walk out. So we, you know, the show starts with Aaron Burr. He walks out first, and people usually cheer like right when the lights go out and he walks out. Great. And then it's John Lawrence, and then he walks out, and like, usually after Burr, it's like quiet until Hamilton says Alexander Hamilton. So Lawrence walks out, great, it's quiet. I walk out, and it's like, I like think, look, okay, they're not going to do it, and they're going to be chill, and everybody's going to contain themselves. And like halfway through the sentence, someone goes, "Whoa!" And then it just like erupts, and I was like, and there it is. And so then we like finish the opening number, and we go backstage, and one of my castmates goes, "These people are crazy," and I was like, "I tried to tell y'all, this is about to be just really obnoxious." So anyway, all of that to say, everybody in the cast was really excited because it was like, it's always more exciting to do a show when like the audience is like riled up and really when into
somebody
it.
has personal stake.
Yeah, and so it was just like very surreal in some moments, and I was like, I can't believe I'm like, I keep saying like, I can't believe I'm like actually doing Hamilton in my hometown, like doing the role that was like my dream role on opening night in Oklahoma City. So it was crazy.
I wish I would have been there. I was actually telling my wife that you were doing that last night as we were driving around, and my wife knows Elvie too.
Yes.
Hi,
Kevy.
We were talking about your name, Elvie, and how it's really just like a one name.
No.
Around here, in these parts, like,
I am not Beyonce status.
No, dude, you're like Tiger status, Beyonce status.
Oh,
like
Lord.
you are. It's like people just say Elvie, and it's like, oh, yeah, dude, Elvie. Like everybody knows Elvie.
I guess.
So I just think it's cool you're back. And with Hamilton, this is the 2-year. I saw that this is the 2-year anniversary of this tour, and that's happening here during this OKC stop.
Yeah.
I was curious for you because you've been with the tour that entire 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
How it's evolved for you since, or how your relationship to Hamilton's evolved since you started Hamilton, or what you thought it was going to be when you started.
Yeah.
Versus how it is now, 2 years later.
It has, I mean, in some ways it like still like is like blows my mind. You know what I mean? Like I still have moments where I'm like, I'm in Hamilton, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And then I have other moments where people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're in Hamilton." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do Hamilton every day. Like, what do you, it's like not that big of a deal." You know what I mean?
Normal.
So it's like, it has like in some ways become normal to me, which is like also surreal thing to say. And you know, it's like completely different than like what I expected in all of the ways, some good and some bad. You know what I mean? It's like all of it is like just completely different than what I would have expected, which is usually what happens when you like build something up in your head for so long and then you like actually get into doing it and then you're like, oh, this is what that is really like. You know what I mean? So like, you know, there are things that are just like little pet peeves I have like about like the performance industry as a whole, right? Like it's not Hamilton specific. It's like, oh, like this thing about like being a performer and right? And like before, because I'm like, well, it's Hamilton, like it's perfect. I'm like,
it's
oh, like
idealized.
that doesn't exist in the Hamilton world. And then you're like, oh, those things still kind of exist. But then there's other things that are like, I'm like, wow, like not my aunt calling me. I'm like, wow, like I am so lucky to be in Hamilton because like I have friends that are in other shows and I'm like, oh, like they have to like, they tell me stories about like things that they deal with. And I'm like, to us, like, you know, we're spoiled a little bit. And like we, you know what I mean? They complain about like some things about like their housing not being great. And we complain that we want different snacks in like the room at intermission. You know what I mean? So in some ways it like far exceeds like the expectations that I have. And in other ways it's like, oh, this is still like the thing that I know it to be. You know what I mean?
It's like an understanding as a professional of sorts that there's like all these things that come along with doing your dream.
Yes.
That aren't what you thought the dream was going to be.
Yeah.
But it's part of it.
Absolutely.
It kind of makes the whole thing better in a weird way.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, being an Oklahoman and also being in theater, I imagine people bring up the show Oklahoma to you occasionally.
Yes.
And so I want to ask you what you think about the show Oklahoma now that you're actually performing on Broadway in theater as an Oklahoman.
Don't sue me. I kind of hate Oklahoma as a show.
Okay.
The show.
I watched it for the first time 2 nights ago.
And what were your thoughts?
I got 37 minutes in and thought, I don't like a single character in this
And
show.
you said this has nothing to do with Oklahoma.
None of it does.
Like this is not like Oklahoma that I know at all. Like what? No. Okay, it's also funny because they talk about growing corn in Oklahoma. And have you ever seen a cornfield in Oklahoma? No. I have not personally. And so one of my castmates, Right,
I mean, there's
I've been
farms.
all
You
across
take 5 minutes either direction, and you got farmland.
And yes, right. So one of my classmates the other day like posted a little status update on his Instagram when it was like Oklahoma City with a corn stalk. And so I messaged him and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so funny because we don't even grow corn in Oklahoma. And that's why like a bunch of Oklahoma people can't stand the music Oklahoma because it's just a bunch of random stuff that's like has nothing to do with Oklahomans. And then he like sends me a screenshot of like Google where he's like Googled like, do they grow corn in Oklahoma? And it's like Oklahoma grows like 25 million stalks of corn each year. And I was like, well, I've never seen any of those cornfields, so
not in Oklahoma City.
They're not in Oklahoma City, so there you go. So I think some of the music in Oklahoma is beautiful as like
Agreed.
a story and like a show. It is. I wish people knew that it is like not really at all representative of life in Oklahoma.
I was hoping to find like some more Oklahoma related stuff that I could like relate to, and it didn't click.
No,
and that's probably the reason why I've never heard an Oklahoman actually talk about Oklahoma, except to sing the state song, which is epic. You know,
obviously, we're biased.
So I was going to ask you about being from Classen SAS, a grad, performing at Sooner Theater, Lyric Theater. Also haven't performed.
Ryan did his homework. I love it.
Haven't performed in New York, London, on the West End. What do you think about how Oklahoma City's doing right now from a performing arts standpoint? I know you've been on the road a lot, but I know you're here often and you live here. Do you live here still full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Part-time, yeah.
I'm a vagabond. I don't live anywhere. People are like, so where are you based? And I'm like, in whatever hotel is closest to where Hamilton's performing.
So basically, how's OKC doing?
I think OKC is doing like really well. People, it's really funny. Like as we were coming to here, like people were asking, they're like, okay, Elvie, like it's customary for like if you were going to your hometown, you have to send like recommendations and blah blah blah.
For sure.
And growing up in Oklahoma City, I was like always, you know, anywhere that a person grows up, it like becomes mundane to them. So I'm always like, there's nothing to do in Oklahoma City, whatever. And they're like, Elvie, you have to give us something. I'm like, I'm telling y'all, like it's kind of boring. Blah, blah, blah. And so then, like the other day, like literally 4 days ago, I like woke up at like 6 a.m. and I was like, wait, I can tell them about Hideaway Pizza, and I can tell them about Empire Slice, and I can tell them about the Paseo District, and this and this. And so then I came up with this like long list of like all these things, and I'm like, you need to go to Class and Curve, and you need to, and then so then they were like, okay, I told you that there was things, and I'm like, yeah, and there's like whitewater rafting kind of downtown, and like all of this stuff, right? Which may not even be the question that you asked, but Oklahoma City's doing great. Arts-wise, I mean, that's another thing that people are always like, oh, like you're from Oklahoma. Like, so did you go to school like somewhere else? And I'm like, no, I went to school in Oklahoma. I'm like, Oklahoma has great arts like education and, you know, arts like organizations that are around, you know what I mean? Yeah. I went to Oklahoma Summer Arts Institute, which is like a like nationally recognized like arts summer program for students. Quartz Mountain. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm always like bragging on Oklahoma in terms of like the arts. And I think that people, because, you know, what they know of Oklahoma is like probably like some of the themes from the musical Oklahoma as far as like what we do. And they're like, they just ride horses to school and whatever. And I'm like, no, yo, like we like are really doing the dang thing in Oklahoma, specifically when it comes to arts. And like we have so many like, especially in theater, like so many theater like Kelly O'Hara and Kristen Chenoweth and you know what I mean? All of these people. And I have friends that like went to school here in Oklahoma, like Zaya Bailey. He's playing the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera on tour.
Wow.
That's coming to Oklahoma City, I think in November or something like that. So you know what I'm saying? Like Oklahoma, we are like representing outside of Oklahoma and like in Oklahoma, as you mentioned, all of those organizations. And there's like many more, you know what I mean? But like Lyric Theater and Sooner Theater and Kismet Performing Arts, like all of these places are, you know, putting Oklahoma on the map.
I think that's a cool part of your story is that I think a lot of people imagine you have to leave Oklahoma to become like known in the arts of the music industry or theater or film. But like, your whole training has been in the state.
In Oklahoma, yeah.
Do you think that being from Oklahoma and being from Oklahoma City has given you like any competitive advantage against your peers, or has it differentiated you in terms of how you look at other people's backgrounds?
In some ways, yeah. Like, okay, so I'll start with a funny story. Anytime I go into an audition, I like walk in, you greet the people like that you're auditioning for. And I walk in, I'm like, hey y'all, how you doing? And 8 times out of 10, they're like, wait, what did you say? Y'all. And I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Oklahoma. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Cause they just don't hear people say y'all. Yeah. So like, that's a funny way that like, I'm like tell on myself pretty immediately, like if I'm ever auditioning for anything. But yes, I would say it has like you mentioned, right? Like me performing in London. That is an opportunity that I got because when I was at OU, they brought in a director who has directed a bunch of things on the West End and in London, and they brought him to like direct a show in Oklahoma, and we like continued to like stay in contact with each other. And then he invited me to go to London to perform alongside people like Adam Pascal and Judy Kuhn, who's like the voice of Pocahontas, and like all of these things, right? So in that way, yes. Like I said, we have great arts education in Oklahoma. I went to Classen SAS and was like a music major there, and then went to OU and was a music major there. And so, you know, our music director often is like, Elvie, like we've had conversations where he was like, I'm so surprised that like you like read music as well as you do, because it's like not a super common thing in like musical theater per se, or you know what I mean. He's like, you should come sit in the pit and listen to the band and like look at the full score. Like I know you'd really appreciate that. And so like in that way, like the education that I received in Oklahoma, as far as like my like musical knowledge and like it's not me like bragging on myself. Other people have like remarked to me like, oh, like you are really a knowledgeable musician. So in that way, yes. And then on top of that, like there are so many people, you know, there's so many great schools for arts and stuff like that in Oklahoma, OCU, UCO, OU, that like when it comes to like doing musical theater and stuff, like there is a lot of competition here. And so I used to think like, oh, like, yeah, I've been able to do shows at Lyric and all these places, but like that just probably means that I'm just like a big fish in like a small pond. Cause that's, you know, I grew up here, so that's just like what I thought about it. And then I got to New York and people were looking at my resume, they're like, you've worked at Lyric Theater of Oklahoma? And I'm like, you know what Lyric Theater? They're like, yeah, I know what that is. Or they're like, you know what I mean? And so, and like the like competition that's here and the arts opportunities that are here really did like train me and set me up for like success outside of Oklahoma as well.
It's really cool that the further you've gotten, you've looked back with more pride about Lyric.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Lyric has a very special place in this arts scene. I mean, it's like it's almost like the epicenter of that, of theater. Yeah. I feel like everybody goes through that. I mean, I was looking through your bio and you played like all the classics. It was like Rocky Horror Picture Show, Phantom. It was like did you play Phantom there?
No.
I feel like you played
Titanic.
a bunch. Wow.
Yeah, Titanic.
Yeah.
Which was at the Civic Center, right? Yeah. So that's another special thing, is that like Lyric gives people the opportunity. Like this is a stage that like in most places, right? Like if you were to pick up the Civic Center and put it somewhere else, right? Like people probably would only perform on that stage like if they are coming like on a national tour or something like that, right? Yep. And so, you know, to have an organization in Oklahoma City that is like doing performances at the Civic Center is giving people that opportunity as well. So you don't have to like move outside of Oklahoma City to like have that kind of, you know, Broadway level experience. And like they're doing Broadway level productions, you know what I mean? It's like the same stage, the same backstage, the same fly rail, all of the things, you know what I mean, are the same. So that's another special thing too, is that we have like the Civic Center as a place to go. I know like before I moved to New York, I like was like, okay, like Elvie, I'm gonna decide to do this. You're gonna do it, and I was like, okay, so I need to go see as many shows on tour as I can possibly see at the Civic Center. And so I literally was like living down the street. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like I was balling on a budget at the time. So I was like, I'm just gonna go like at like the half hour and like see if I can get like a cheap ticket for whatever show is here, and like get like a last minute seat. And it was really crazy because for like a year and a half to 2 years, I would like walk up to the box office and be like, hey, like I just want to buy like whatever tickets you have available, like if there's something like cheap or whatever. And they'd be like, actually this person decided that they're only one of them, so you can have this ticket. So I saw like so many shows for free because like the box office just had like an extra ticket left over, or I was able to get like a front row ticket for like $40 or something like that, because like I was able to get like like a rush seat. And that really helped me too, to see people that I knew that were like on tours coming back to Oklahoma, and people that I was in college with or whatever, or to even just like see the tours and be like, wait, like they're not doing a thing that like is foreign to me. Like I could totally do that. So yeah, Oklahoma City has got it going on, in my opinion. I'm biased, of course.
Oh gosh, and I feel like it's continuing to spread and grow up organically, and I just feel like there's more examples like you, like all the time, for young kids to look at and be like, yeah, it's possible. I can play at the Civic Center. I can play Broadway, and I'm hoping that I can go inside and just look at the stage, because every time I'm in the Civic Center, it's like it's got the big feels. It's like the goosebumps feeling.
It is like,
and the Civic Center is real.
Yes, and like this stage, like I think it seats what, like 2,700, 24, something like that. Yeah. Somewhere in the 2000s, right? Like this is a bigger auditorium than like most Broadway theaters. You know what I mean? So like performing here is like, it's no like small feat to be able to like step on that stage and like tell a full story and command that space, you know? So yeah, it's really special.
So for someone who's not seen Hamilton, like me, somehow, again, big embarrassment on my resume.
That's all right. It's all right.
But that can change. That can change in the next
you have
2 weeks here at the Civic Center. Or for someone who has seen Hamilton dozens of times by now, what do you think the experience is going to be like here for the next 2 weeks at the Civic Center?
Well, obviously, I think it's going to be like very exciting. Like anytime you get to like come and like share theater space with people, I feel like it's exciting. And what I love the most about like doing tours and like doing Hamilton on tour is that like getting going to see a show on Broadway is like very inaccessible, if we're going to be honest, like fiscally speaking, right? Like you got to pay for it. If you don't live in New York, you got to pay for a flight to get there. You got to pay for a hotel, unless you're going to, go back to the airport right after the show.
In proximity of the show.
Yeah, you got to pay some. Hopefully you eat while you're there, and then you have to buy a ticket, which like for Hamilton is like a very competitive, expensive ticket. All of this is like thousands of dollars to go experience a night on Broadway. So what I love about like doing shows on tour and coming to like Oklahoma City and all of these like local places is that we get to bring Broadway like to people like in their backyard. So I think it's just exciting for that purpose of it, and we get to expose so many more people to this story and to this art form that may not have the means to go all the way to New York City to like go do it, right? So we make it accessible. So anyway, I think it's gonna be exciting. The show spans a lifetime of a human being and like all of the ups and downs that come with that. So like there's getting married, children dying, affairs, like all of the things. There is an emotion within the show for any and everybody. So that is always, it's like my nieces who are like ages 3, I think the youngest is 3 to like 13, are all obsessed with Hamilton. I feel bad for my brother and my sister-in-law because they've been like listening to Hamilton nonstop, right? So they're obsessed with it. And then my grandma, who is 87, came to the show last night and managed to stay awake for the whole time. That was the first thing I asked my mom. I was like, "Did Granny stay awake the whole show?" She goes, "Yes, she did actually." You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. Like it can connect with any audience member, which I think is really special as well. And I try to tell my nieces, I was like, "Okay, now that y'all have come to see the show, you have to give your parents like a week off from Hamilton." They were like, "No, absolutely not. We're going to sleep listening to Hamilton tonight." And I was like, Hamilton is not a relaxing, that is not like soothing music. It's not white noise that you're like, "Oh yeah, let me listen to the trickle of this river." And they're like, "No, we're going to sleep listening to nonstop." And I'm like, okay, if you say so.
I bet this is inspiring though, the next generation.
Yeah.
This is how it's done.
Yeah. It's really cool. One of my oldest niece, or my oldest niece of that group of them, she has a prosthetic leg, and she like every now and then she has to get it refitted, and they can do like different designs. And so my sister-in-law sends me a picture a couple weeks ago, and she has gotten a white prosthetic leg that has like the silhouette of the Schuyler sisters on one side And it says like work, and then on the backside of it, it says you'll be back with like a crown on the backside of her leg. And she's like, I'm so excited for the show, and I'm gonna get the cast to sign my leg, and and you know what I mean. So that is like that's a really special part of it too, you know. Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
For you.
Because I could talk to you all day, as you already know.
Dude, we could go deeper down any single one of these things you said, levels and levels. But last question. Thank you, too, for making the time today.
Of course.
I was brushing up on your resume, you know, just reviewing my friends' accomplishments, when I saw something I didn't know about you.
Oh.
You were Boomer, one of the mascots.
I was.
For the best university in this country
to ever
for
exist.
3 years. So my question for you is, what is the most interesting thing, if you can tell us, that ever happened to you while you were wearing that costume?
Okay.
On the field, in competition, wherever.
First off, my mascot coach, who I still call coach, is probably going to like text me and be like, you're not supposed to be telling people you're Boomer. But it's been over 10 years, so we get it. I was friends with Boomer, let's say that. Okay, so the most interesting thing was when I like probably almost died in the costume. So we were doing, there's like nationals competitions for all of like the spirit teams at all of the universities, right? So if you just imagine Bring It On, but like real life college version, it's intense, and it happens at Disney World, and like then they shut down, and then they shut down like one of the parks at night, and then they like give all of the folks competing access to like walk through the park and, you know, ride the rides, whatever. So you're like walking, you know, down in Hollywood studios, and there's like guys with girls on their shoulders, like just walking, you know what I mean, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, so the mascot competition, you do a skit, and you like build these props. You have to like build all of the stuff yourself, and it's like props, and you like put together a mix and all of this stuff, and it's like a whole thing. So our theme when I did it was Welcome to the Jungle. And it was like Boomer going through all of these different like little jungle scenarios. And there was like alligators that like bit off his pants and stuff like that, right? And so the skit started with a magic trick where I was in this box that, that was probably like this deep of a box, and maybe like about as wide as like the size of this chair, right? And so I'm like curled up.
This is a tight space.
Yes. And I have like the head on and like all of the things, and I'm like curled up in this box, and you can't see that it just looks like an empty box. And what did happen is like I would lift up, and there was like a cage painted on this fabric around the box, and then I would like bust through the top of it, and it's like boom. So anyway, so we have like you have like a minute to set up your props. So we like practice this and all of this stuff, and we're like, okay, well, because Elvie has to like be in this box curled up, and like you can't really breathe in there, and like he needs to be the last thing that like gets rolled out, and so they like start setting up, and our timer's going, and they roll me out there, and my coach is in the booth next to the person like doing the sound, and he's like, we get set, and he's like, okay, push play. And they're like, well, the mascot's not on the stage yet. And he's like, yes, he is, push play. And they're like, we can't see the mascot. Like, the performer's not out there yet. And he's like, he is in that box, and he will die if you don't push play right now. And they're like, okay. And so they push play, and then I like come up out of the box, and like I didn't die. But I was like probably a good like 10 seconds from like passing out, and I was like, are they gonna push? I was curled up in this box like, are they gonna push play? Like, what is happening? Why is it not going? Why is it not going? And so the video of it is really funny because there's like a person working a camera.
Like coming out of the box.
And there's like a person working the camera, and you can like, they've pushed play, and you can tell that they like are like, what's happening? Because the camera is just like panning left to right, like trying to find like where the mascot is. And then like I jump out of this thing, and you know, it all worked out. And so we did get first in skit that year, but we got second overall, which I'm annoyed about because part of your score is based off of a video that you submit and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but I still tell people that I claim to have won nationals because we got first in skit, so that's all that matters.
I think that counts. And that does not surprise me at all that you got first in the skit. That makes sense to me.
Sure, I guess.
Elvie, one word name, Elvie, thank you for joining us on the show. And you have so many fans here, and we are all behind you, man. We got your back. in Oklahoma City.
Obviously,
so we're proud of you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
I could talk to you all day long. I'm your biggest fan, Ryan Fight Masters' biggest fan. He's the coolest person you could ever meet.
Man, dude, I appreciate that. That means a lot. I'm going to see you in this place. I'm going to see you at the Civic Center.
Yes. Oh,
I think
I'm scheduled. Yeah, I'm scheduled to perform August 22nd in the evening performance as Hercules Mulligan, James Madison. So if people want to come to that performance, I'm a little biased. You should come to that one. But you can come to any performance. You can get tickets at okcbroadway.com/Hamilton. And yeah, there's tickets available. I think we have tickets available on weekdays this week, and then Sunday this week, and then next week I think there's availability for the whole week. So come to the Civic Center, come see the show.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Broadway in Oklahoma City. Awesome.
Thanks,
Elvie. Elvie is a talented dude. Gosh, man, love that guy. Isn't Elvie awesome? He's also a great follow on social media too. At Elvie.Ellis. Again, for the next 2 weeks at the Civic Center, you've got a chance to watch Broadway, Hamilton, and OKC. First time they've been here since 23. Don't know when they're going to come back. And let's be honest, it is too hot to do anything else in this city right now, and you're just waiting on Saturdays in the fall. So, no excuses. And lastly, the best thing I saw this week in OKC culture, or in this week's case, the best thing I tasted. Okay, I love coffee. And let me clarify what that means, because some people can say that they love coffee, and what they really enjoy is a compilation of spices or lavender or vanilla or flavors and milk with this flavoring that gets mixed in that's like coffee. It's like coffee flavored ice cream, basically served in a cup. It's the way that I look at most people who go to some places, I'm not going to name names, in the city and get their coffee. No judgment. Obviously, just by saying this, you could already tell I'm passing some judgment. Okay, what I like about coffee is the taste of coffee. I like pour over coffee. I want drip coffee. I want good beans. I want it extracted right, and I want the flavor to be choice. Whenever I take a sip of the coffee, I want to feel like I'm having an experience I've never had before. Is that a lot to ask of coffee? Yes. Yes, it is. But there is a place in Oklahoma City. Well, there's many places, and we're going to get to that. We're going to actually do a big old coffee breakdown in the fall. But there's a place that I've been loving recently where I've been working in the afternoons called Caboose Coffee inside of Bookish, used bookstore. It's off of 36th and Western, back behind Bruno's Furniture, if you're familiar with that area. And the owner, Mia, also the barista, she works there, and per my wife, she makes the best cortado in the city. And my wife is a cortado aficionado, if that's a thing. And so earlier this week, 2 days ago, I was working there in the afternoon, and I got a cortado. Again, usually I'm a drip coffee guy, but in the afternoon, sometimes I need a little bit more milk in my system. And my goodness, this cortado. It's ecstasy. It's so smooth. And the beans they use are from Clark's, high quality beans. So could not recommend going by Bookish and Caboose, because I think what they're doing over there is pretty special. It's very local. They have a curated selection of Oklahoma specific history books that are used. Some of them are new, but most of the stuff they have is used. And the quality of books that they have inside the store, it's actually books you want to read, not books that you would see put in a free little library. All right. This is good stuff. Go check it out. I think what they're doing is fairly artistic too. I mean, they put their hearts and soul into this place. And that was the best thing that I saw in OKC culture this week. And please tell us if there's something that you saw that you loved, and we'll shout it out on social media too. Next week, I'm having my dad on the show to discuss all the places we miss across Oklahoma City, a special late summer nostalgia episode. Let us know if you're really missing a certain experience, and we will talk about that. We'll include it in the rankings. Email me, DM me if you do want to send an email. Send it to drylineokc@gmail.com, and we'll add it in to the show. If you enjoyed this podcast, you know what to do. Drop us a review, like and subscribe to our stuff on TikTok, Substack, Instagram, and Facebook. And yes, YouTube now, where you can get video episodes of every podcast. And please, share the word with your friends. If you love Oklahoma City, we do too, and we believe in this place, and we're excited about the stories it's telling. Until the next time, you'll know where to find us. At the Powerhouse. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Oh, God.